Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Inside Pool's production of the Virginia State 9-Ball Championship. I'm J.R. Calvert, and joining me here in the booth is Tournament Director Josh Dickerson. Joshua, how you doing today? Doing excellent, excellent. Looks like we have a pretty good match going on today. We've got Chris Loar and Bobby Chamberlain.
Our two best players down in this state. Said Chris is a two-time champion of this event. Bobby is Virginia State championship. I thought from 2 years ago. So it should be a classic battle. Two guys have player representatives from countries and playing a long time. It should be a ball. Oh, almost had some action there right off the break.
Yeah, almost.
So both of these guys are through their first round matches, and really looking forward to this. We had a few matches that were be some marquee matches for this round of play. So this one was definitely going to be a barn burner. Both pretty exciting players, had their unique styles to them, and should be a classic match, one for the books.
Tell us a little bit about Bobby Chamberlain.
Bobby actually plays out of Hard Times in Woodbridge, Virginia, up in northern Virginia. And I actually got a chance to meet Bobby a couple years ago when I heard he was coming to play in the State Straight Pool Championship. Had never heard from him before, but once you meet Bobby, you'll never forget him. He's a very charismatic guy, loves the game just about as much as anybody else I can think of, and does what he can to help the sport. And his straight pool game is really something to behold. He's probably one of the most aggressive straight pool players I've ever seen. I kind of get a recollection of Pat Fleming playing in his prime. Pat, was very aggressive, especially when it came to the break shot. Some of the older players weren't as aggressive on the break shot, would just ticky until they got a few balls open and then would be very aggressive. But that's not Bobby's style. So.
So it's pretty fair to assume that he's going to be a quicker shooter and somebody that we're going to see a lot of great shot making from.
Absolutely. Totally.
Excellent, excellent. Now, what do you know about Chris Loar that you can let our fans know at home?
Chris has pretty much grown up in pool. His dad owned a pool room in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I believe it was JJ's, that he actually recently just sold in the last year, but has been a player all his life, played in the Tiger Tour, Planet Pool events that have been in the Mid-Atlantic area for the last couple years through different owners. And it was funny, Chris and I were talking right before this match started. He actually was mentioned in a match that I bought from AccuStats at the 99 U.S. Open. It was a match between Buddy Hall and Ralph Souquet, and there was at least a mention or a viewing of 3 Virginia players in that one match. Billy Stevens, who was the former owner of the Playing Field in Richmond, was playing Dennis Hatch to the table, to the left of the TV table, and Chris was playing Jimmy Wedge at the time. And actually, when I was telling Chris about it, he said, "I remember that match. I lost that match hill," which was actually mentioned in the match by Jay Helford doing the commentary. So Chris was probably, I'd say, in his early 20s at the time of that match. So, he's come a long way with his game, and I would sit and watch him during some of those Planet Pool events shoot a particular safe over and over again. And he would try and shoot a ball and hook up his opponent on the corner point right on the side pocket. He'd shoot the ball, the object ball, just past the side pocket and hook him on the point. And I often sat there wondering how often would that come up in a game. And I've seen him use it effectively several times.
Well, it looks like Chris has a pretty darn good shot on the 5-ball here. It's not a great easy shot. It's a great hard shot. This is a shot where I think if he makes it, he's going to run into the 8-ball and get position on the 6. Let's see how he works it. Great shot. And, of course, the 8-ball bounced right off the rail and back into the line of the shot. So I believe Chris is going to end up trying to kick this ball. Now, the proper way to kick this ball is to go down to the shoot past the 8 and try and kick the 6 off the side rail between the 8 and then down to the bottom rail. Now, this he's going to have to get lucky to get a safety out of this on Bobby. And let's see, he actually did the one thing that he wanted to do, was hit it really full or really thin, and he hit it pretty thin.
He got very fortunate with that shot. He's left him a shot, but it's not one of the easy shots to have, and he's outstretched out in the middle of the table, and this bottom corner pocket can get a little big if you're not careful.
Now, I like to hit this ball with a flat ball and run around the 8 ball. You miss the 8, but if you spin this ball, you hit the 8.
Oh,
and I think he tried missing the 8 and spinning it at the same time.
And he's, I think, left him a shot.
Well, he's jacked up over the 9 and back cutting this ball. And again, he's probably going to have to hit this with a flat ball as well to miss the 8. Or use a little bit of inside English. Outside will not let him miss this 8.
Oh,
Great shot.
Great shot. Let's see if he's going to get rewarded for it. He's kind of on the 50-yard line there. Do you think he just tries to bank it down to the short rail and put the cue ball at the other end of the table? Or do you think he shoots for it?
I actually bank this ball to the short rail like you're saying. And I know that I'm going to run my cue ball probably down into the corner. This is the issue that happens, is he's trying to get the 8 in the game, and you can leave a shot trying to get the 8 in the game.
Bobby might have a corner of the ball. You see this big white, looks like a piece of chalk on the table. That's actually from Japan. Bobby uses those. It's got a groove in it for your finger, and you can rub it on your finger as opposed to having a small container of powder with you wherever you go. And it's like a hardened condensed towel instead of carrying a little Johnson & Johnson with you wherever you go.
And it just absorbs the moisture right from your hand.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting product there. I like that.
Yes.
I'm sure the pool room owners everywhere love the cleanliness of it. And he's played the bank shot. I think he's going to actually miss it, but the thing is that he's going to end up with a pretty good safety here. Now, no, it looks like Chris is cueing this like he can see this ball straight out, so maybe he can. Excellent shot. Came right back perfectly. Nice shot. Nice shot. Take a second to thank one of our sponsors here. Just want to take a second to thank a couple of our sponsors, Kamui Tips and Simona's Cloth. They're helping make this stream possible for everybody today. Chris is one of these guys who breaks the balls really well. That's been one of his strong suits in the past, besides running out. He's just an all-around accomplished player. But he doesn't, he hits them pretty hard. They made a ball. It didn't exactly end up with a great shot on the one, but I think he's going to have enough options here. And I think the first one he's probably going to look at is putting a cue up behind a deuce after making a hit on the one. Maybe bank the one up by the 4 ball. This is an interesting shot. Anytime the ball that you're trying to kick is in the corner, there's not only possibilities for kicks, but there's huge possibility for scratches. Bobby ended up making a nice hit on that ball. Didn't lose his head, just made the hit on the ball, made sure that he had something that wasn't a sellout in his, as a retort. Chris is, I believe he's actually left Bobby a good start here. It was not the shot that I was actually expecting, but
I apologize for stepping out of the booth. Everyone, a tournament director's work is never done. So, looks like
well,
Bobby does have a good opportunity to get on the board here. The 6 and the 7 are a little close, but the position of the 4 and the 5, he at least has a couple balls he can use to get them in a better position. Is he hooked behind the 5 here, JR?
if he's not, he just barely made it there. And I mean, that was the one worry about that shot, is he had to draw it into the corner. He's looking like he has room here.
He had to spin it, but he got there.
He dug that ball down to get to the bottom rail. I think he had all kinds of room. It's just he wanted that position. At this point here, he has his choice, side pocket or corner, for this 4 ball. And my personal leanings are to put this ball down the corner. These side pockets on these diamond tables can be treacherous. And he's played it the way I think I would play it. Just shoot it up in the corner. Do what you need to do. Follow forward, maybe. Draw back, maybe. I think I'd go with this one, drawing back a hair.
Then we can play the 5 in the other side pocket. And then 6 might. Oh.
Well, it's not what he wanted. That was the problem with that shot, is that he draws it back 9 inches, he's perfect. He draws it back 12 inches, he's on the wrong side of the 5.
Absolutely.
That's why he might have went forward and just accepted cutting it in the side with the 5, a little back cut, but he knew that he would just have to kill it a little bit for the 6. But if you draw it and you're perfect, boy, everything just takes their place. And he went for it on that position.
New Simonis, you have to be careful too. You try and think you're going to draw the ball, and it slides on you a little bit, and you end up getting in situations like this.
You look like you got Mike Massey or Larry Neville stroke.
He tried to kick at it and just barely missed it.
And I'd be willing to bet that Chris is going to get nearly straight in and then a hair of an angle and just slide over for the 6 and shoot it in the same pocket as the 5.
Yeah, that 6 must pass, and that's a good angle to be at because you can just roll forward, shoot the 7 in the opposite side, roll down for the 9. It's 2-0.
And that, Chris made a mistake on the 1 ball. He made a pretty decent safe, and Bobby didn't sell out, but he gave him a shot. And Chris either missed or played a really awkward safe. And I'm surprised to see him back at the table. It did take a situation like what Bobby had to make that happen.
I want to bring something to everybody's attention as well. If we can get the side camera angle, you see Chris was racking the balls with his hands there, not using a rack. We're using at this year's event something called the rack tight system. And it's little clear, basically looks like a paper reinforcer that sticks to the table, and it gives you a perfectly tight rack every time. And we used this event last year. Grace Nakamura is a sponsor from last year's event for these.
Right.
So I like the product so much I wanted to use them again this year because I think it takes out the endless amount of time to rack the balls and questions about, you know, the
Yeah.
tightness of racks. I actually use this at my table at home for 9 ball and 10 ball, and it works extremely well. So it's a great product.
Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that you know you're going to get a pretty darn good rack, and when you use a rack your own, you know there's a lot of honesty.
Absolutely. And it's a really simple product. We've seen a lot of products over the years in this game to try and help get a tight rack every time. And you know, some have taken off like wildfire, and it became a big product. And you see them on TV, a lot of the women's matches, and then you know some would be here one year and gone the next. So anything I think that simplifies the sport and makes it an even playing field for folks, where it really comes down to who's the best ball maker, really helps the sport overall.
Right. Exactly.
So Bobby's got a little bit of a tester here, but he just comes up and back naturally on the table. He should have a decent shot on the football, but he decided to try and play some type of safe there.
See, the 4 ball's no bargain, and it's right there by the 6. And unless you get fairly close to the 7, you're going to accept a long shot to have the right angle to go from the 4 to the 5. So this is no bargain, and this is why both of these players look like they're playing a really weak safety, but it's a little bit more troublesome than what they want. And Chris missed that ball trying to get that perfect line from and you can see where it is. It's just a hair past that 7. These players want to get right in there and draw. Okay, Bobby's mixing them up here, and I think that's his style in a way. He's not afraid to mix the pieces up. But, you know,
He got away with a decent shot on the 4 ball here. I thought he was going to be behind the 8 for a minute.
well, here we go. You know, that theory aside, that you wanted to be as close to straight in, but with a little angle on the 4, the better. Thank our engineer, Alvin Nelson. He's monitoring the chat and keeping up with everybody.
Wow.
And that's why these players wanted to get nearly straight on that 4. Nobody wanted to go back and across and try and get on the other side of this 5, because that side pocket's really in a funny place. That 5, and you almost had to be on this side.
Yeah, I look for Chris to roll the 4 towards the 8 and try and get him behind the 6 ball here.
He may even roll onto the 8.
Oh, push the 4 down to the end rail and put the.
It's a little bit of a funky angle. Now another shot is to hit the 4 just a hair with right hand English straight on, bank it past the 8. If it hits the 5, who cares? Because you're going to leave the cue and real close to the 7. And if you relocate the 4 and 5, they're probably going to both relocate to the rack area on the other side. He may be looking at that. I'm not really sure. But it would take a little bit of spin, and it takes a little. I think this is more of a one pocket style bank than anything. Okay, he is getting him right on the 8.
That's a good shot.
That's a nice shot.
And he might have cut off the end rail from doing this, unless you have to spin it with some extreme English to get a chance to even hit the 4. So he'll probably end up having to go to the long rail and run into the 4, and even then he's probably going to have a hit, but the 6 is going to keep the 4 from moving a great distance.
Yeah, he's looking at the possibly the simplest kick right now. There's 2 that I see that are simple, and one that will work. The one that works is you shoot the cue past the 7, catch the bottom rail, the side rail, and come back and hit the 4. And that gives you the best chance of splitting the balls and getting a safe. This one here will be the best to actually give you something where you get a hit.
Yep.
that doesn't mean that you're not going to sell out.
Made a good hit, but has left Chris a fairly simple run out to get to this, get this game.
Well, it might be a weakness in Bobby's game, but whenever you kick, you want to kick and try and get both balls, or at least one ball, to the side of the table where all the balls are. He kicked that ball with the cue ball, both going away from where the side of the table where the balls were. Thus, no matter what happened, he was either going to leave Chris out or leave Chris a really easy safe. So that was death on a platter, and you pretty much want to make sure that at some point there, whenever you're kicking, if you can't split the balls, they better both be going towards a side of the table that's has a lot of traffic.
Chris got a little straight on that 7 ball, so now he's got quite a tester on the 8 ball here. He's almost got a free shot at the 8 in the corner because the cue ball is running towards the 9. You might get lucky here and make both up, or just carry him in and make the 9.
This is a 50. If he hits his ball with high Q, he can come off and clip the 9 in a bad way. And if he hits it with more of a stun shot where he slides sideways off the ball, he can run into the 9 and hit it and never end up with a good shot. So he has to kind of go 50-50 on it this time. There it was. He was he was on the 50 and he tried to hit it with an in-between stroke and got extremely unlucky. Now, for the most part, Bobby should be able to get on the board with this. This is nothing. He's letting the player beside him just shoot their rack out a little bit, and he's probably going to, at some point here, relax and get ready to put the point up on his side. And what I was saying about Bobby is he seems like he's the type of guy that likes to shoot quick. He's shown me that he actually has some deliberateness to his game with waiting for that other player there. He knew that was a simple game and he just wanted to wait for it.
And Bobby's no stranger to the tight rack. He actually was telling me about it last year or 2 years ago at the state straight pool tournament, and he was invited to an event in Japan where they had this for the racking system for the event. And so I'm sure Bobby will make great use of it when he's getting ready to break the balls here. And early in the match with 2 great players like this, you can't really count either one of them out.
No, not at all. 2-1 this is just a beginning. And, winner break, rack your own 9-ball. We can see somebody put down a small package here. Pretty good break. He's coming up dry on this, but it doesn't mean that he's sold out, even though Chris can see the 1. Nice shot by Chris.
Chris is, I think, a very patient player. He knows not to try and rush things, and good things come to those who wait. So he's willing to play a few safes in order to get himself the optimum chance of getting to the table and running the rack. So I think we'll see plenty of safeties out of Chris. He's an aggressive player, but I think he knows the value of playing a good safety. He's like in one pocket. It's the value of taking a deliberate foul.
Right.
Because that can come back to help you later in the rack.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction. First off, these 2 players have played each other. Secondly, watching Bobby play, he is a straight pull player, and he may not know all the nuances of kicking in 9-ball. Though that was a great kick there.
Very good kick.
I think Chris, now that I'm watching the way he's been playing safe a couple of times, I think he wants to capitalize on one of the places where he's better than Bobby. He wants a safety battle in 9 ball because he feels that he can outsafe him. And honestly, if I was to, say how this match is going to go, we're going to watch a very, yeah, what I would call uh, tight match played by Chris. He's not going to try and be overly aggressive. I think he's going to be more apt to opt for a safety instead of shooting a hard shot. Even though he's missed 1 or 2 mediocre shots, it's been late in the match where he feels that there wasn't enough balls on the table for him to win that safety
So
battle.
you predict he'll play pretty conservatively.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the only problem ball I see here, believe it or not, is the 4 to the 5. That's 7-8, even though that's the position is a little bit rocky on it. It's still fairly easy. 3 balls left on the table. As long as you can make the 7, you can probably get on the 8. It's the 4 to the 5 that's the real clincher. The 6 ball blocks most of the natural angles, and that's what Bobby's looking at right now.
And if he's going to play this 4 in the side, I think he's going to be better off falling under the bottom side of the 6, because you take the 6 out of play there, so you hit it just a little firmer than you normally would.
Mm-hmm.
It takes the 6 out of play, so you know that you won't get hooked trying to shoot the 5 ball.
Well, he's going to just barely miss this 8 ball if he does this correctly. Swing over to the first diamond below the side and pop off and get the 5 ball straight in.
Which he's done successfully.
Now he's looking at making sure he doesn't go too far on this 6. He wants to keep an angle from the 6 where the cue ball just follows straight towards the 7. Now he's got one of those ones where he wants to hit it with a little inside possibly and follow it, or he can just follow it a bit of ways and accept rolling the 6 in. It's not on the 50, he's on the 49-yard line here.
Do you think he has enough room to play the 7 down in the corner past the 8, or is the 8 going to block him?
And you can see what I mean by he's on the 49. Now he has to take a rolling shot on the 6. And he doesn't want to go past that line where he gets the 8 into the game. And had he done it the other way where he hit it with high and spun it to run tighter at the pocket, he might have gone on the wrong angle on the 6. So he was in the one place where he didn't want to be, so to speak.
Now you've got to really trust your stroke here. Play a nice rolling shot on the 6 ball, which is no gimme on these tight diamond tables.
Well, the big thing that he's looking for is the fall through the ball. We used to call this a heavy ball hit. He wants to hit it with a little bit of pace, and he wants the cue ball to act like it has follow, but not have the speed of a follow shot. So you accomplish that by going a hair below center.
Oh, he's drawing this ball.
He's going to hit it. He's going to smack it straight in and try and kill the ball. See, I disagreed with that shot.
Good shot, but not rewarded for it at all.
Well,
now you're kicking at the 7. As Jimmy Mateus say, maybe taking a ride on the Reading here.
Is that what you think, my friend?
That's right. If you got the cheese, I'm ready, baby.
Well, I think the 7's going to end up in a bad place for Chris.
Wow, good roll there for Bobby.
Now, see, this is not the hardest shot in the world. You go off the bottom rail, hit the 7 square in the face, bank it between the 8 and the rail, down to where the chalk is on this rail, and Bob's your uncle. And he got the other hit that lets him let the cue go right up into the 8-9. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. He hit the speed perfectly. He knew that he was trying to keep the 7 on the other side of the table. Now this is actually a 3-rail kick shot here. If you get into my book, you can split the balls up and probably bank the 7 onto the bottom rail and keep the 8-9. And what he'd do is he'd hit this ball right around in between the 2nd and 3rd diamond the other way. This way here, you can hit the ball, but you can also sell out. So let's see if the sellout's in play here. He's left them options.
No more problem balls, but that could work to his advantage. This is not a gimme on this 7 ball.
He did accomplish getting 7 feet in between the two balls, which is awesome. I didn't have to see a good shot come out of it. It was a trap, but we'll see. I think Chris is just going to bank his ball, 7 ball, back up to our end of the table here.
Oh, good shot.
And he speared it right in.
Get rewarded for it? Yep.
I've always liked Chris's game. Bobby Chamberlain hits the ball so clean at times, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Another great shot by Chris. And our score should be 3-1 Chris Loar after the pocketing of this 9 ball.
Chris showing a little bit of patience here. Notice he's not mad. He's just, hey, I'm going to make this 9. He's letting David Hunt shoot the shot on the other table. David's a pretty accomplished player. I believe he got 3rd place here last year, did he not?
That. David's a very accomplished player. He's got a nickname, the Dentist. He was actually helped put himself through dentistry school, playing for a few dollars here and there on the pool table. And nicest guy in the world.
Great guy. Really nice guy.
Plays in the U.S. Open, has gone to Derby. Actually, I think he beat Earl Strickland at the Banks division 2 years ago at the Derby City Classic.
And Earl banks the balls fairly well. Take this moment to thank one of our sponsors. Be with you in a second, folks. And we're back. Chris Loar is getting ready to break the balls. Score of 3-1 here. Well, he lost his cue ball there. Did make the corner ball and a 9. Just a 9, I guess. So Bobby Chamberlain's going to step to the table with what looks like a playable lie. The 3 ball is going to be the only ball I think he needs to worry about. Once he pockets the 3 ball, it's all going to be a matter of staying in line. He's taking a look at the size of the pocket there past the 6. He doesn't know whether he's going to brush into it or not. And, at this point here, he just needs to get on the deuce the right way. Now it looks like he's going to try and get the 3 ball in the side. He wants to get past the 8 ball here. It's a little bit of a touchy shot, but this is where the rack comes down to. Oh, well, he's missed the deuce. Trying to get up there. Now Chris has got an angle where it looks like he's going to end up having to pocket the 6 with a rolling, slower cue ball. He's not going to hit this hard. The 2-6 combo, fairly soft. All right. Okay, he's got an angle on the 3 that's pretty straight, actually. Oh, he is actually going too far. I think well, I know he can't see the 4 ball. He's kind of kicking himself. Now, I believe he's supposed to kick to the bottom rail, hit the side of the 4 that's towards the middle of the table, and let the cue roll up towards the 9. Doesn't want to hit this too hard, folks. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. That's what he had to do. If the side pocket doesn't hit the ball, he's probably got even another foot or two in between the two. Now, Bobby may end up trying to go off the side rail where the 4 ball is because it's a fairly easy hit, but he also might try and kick the 4 ball in, which is a makeable ball. Whenever the 4 ball gets this close, you have to consider the fact that if you just roll this over and make the 4 and the 5's right there, you're going to be in business. And there he did. If he makes this shot on the 5 and gets fairly good on the 7, I think he's got almost 3 stop shots to win the rack. Bobby's showing a lot of composure there. A lot of times players don't understand how important it is to walk around the table and let yourself relax in between a shot. And you can follow this, draw it, do whatever. 9 ball's makeable in a lot of pockets. Followed it down. And this is going to make the score 3-2 in favor of Chris Loar. I know a lot of players are still getting used to the fact you can rack the balls without an actual rack. New technologies, cloth like Simonis, where you can, hold the little guides that are available with the tight rack in place, lets you really have a tight rack over and over and over again. Looks like he's made a ball or two here, actually 2 balls. But unfortunately, the one, he'd love it to be, that 7 ball not to be there. Joshua Dickerson is back from his tournament director duties.
What has he made on the break? Looks like the 5 and the 6.
Yeah, made the 5 and the 6. Now it looks like there could be a 4-9 in the future here. The 1 is the big issue right now. Now, I personally don't mind nicking the 1 and putting the cue on the bottom rail. I think it's a little bit of a slow safety, so to speak. It's not really something where I'd want to rush right away. And I don't agree with him pushing out anywhere here either.
You have a little bit of traffic the other end of the table. I almost like rolling the 1 up on the 3 and putting the cue ball back down table and making Chris try and kick it out or play another safe back on him. This is not a bad shot. Let's see if he's going to leave Chris a shot here.
I think that's about the best shot I've seen all match. It was extremely strong. I think he's going to end up having to go into the rail right where he's at and seeing if he can double this shot. Hit it, and then hit the rail where the 1 ball is.
Do you think he spins off this 1 rail, or does he catch the 2nd rail to hit it?
He may even consider 3 rails, which is most likely the best way to split up these 2 balls. go in between the rail and the four, come down here by the first diamond, hit over there by the first diamond, the side rail by the first diamond, and go to town. He's tying it up. Nope. He took a shot at it. And I didn't agree a lot with that kick. I like the three railer there because the ball was bigger. And
He gives ball in hand to Bobby, but it didn't do him any favors. Now you try and shoot a 2-4-9 combination.
well, if the eight was in a slightly different place, I might play position to hide the deuce, put the cue up against the four, and see if I could get a 2-9. But with the eight not there, where it being down a little bit further, you might put the two right so close that your player could kick the 2-9 in.
You see where he pointed his cue at the two ball a few minutes ago. It looks like he might be trying to do exactly that, make the one and get himself into a position where he shoots the two to the rail and squeezes the cue ball up on the four and leaves Chris a very difficult kick, even though there's not much space he's going to have to move in there. But if he gets him up on the four ball, he's going to have to go at least two rails to try and hit the two ball.
All right.
And if he doesn't, then he's got a easy 2-9 combination left for Bobby. He's
Oh,
overshot his position here a little bit.
He's out of position here from what I can see. Now, the only thing that I can see in this now is, admitting it and just letting the cue ball nick the deuce, miss the four, and get the 4-8 into the game and put the cue towards the bottom rail near the second diamond. That's how he's going to do this shot. You're only moving the deuce maybe 4 inches. That's how far out of line he is from what we were talking about, if he was indeed trying that. The other side of it is put the deuce down there. The only problem with that is the 9 being where it's at, it's the size of a basketball for a return safety. So that's why I like the cue going that way. I really like the fact that Bobby's taking his time on this shot. He's trying to overcome, and he got himself into this position because he did a cardinal rule. He broke one. You don't draw all the time necessarily when you're running tight position with ball in hand. You want to look if there's a way to use the rails. And it's tempting to draw, it really is, and I think if he had it back, he'd like to use the rails and follow this ball to get position. But let's see what he comes up with here. I truly believe that he's going to end up just nicking this deuce. Oh my, what a shot. Wow. He's charged up about that. And I don't blame him. That was an incredible shot. That just, I hadn't even considered trying to make the shot. But we did predict that he was going to be a little bit more of a shot maker during the beginning of the set, so here we are. Bobby Chamberlain showing us a trick or two.
Okay, we got a match on table number 4 on the winner's side. Eric Moore, match from yours. Table 4.
Bobby looks like he's breaking with a finale tip cue. Those break the balls really hard. Might not be, it just looks like it could be. I can't really zoom in and tell. Yeah, he did make one on the break, it looks like. No, he did not. The ball must have went in and out. nice thing here, I think this is such a open table. I don't see too many things that can go wrong here. The only shot is to get from the 4 to the 5. Now I did get jacked up on the 3 here. It's a little bit funky. Let's see how he did. He's shaking his head. I can see he wants to run this with a flat ball, but flat ball might run him into the 6 now. He can't draw this ball the way he wants. So he's got to run it flat. Let's see what happens here, folks. Yeah, he did hit the 6. He got a good lick, and he's coming down table. He's perfect. And he just wanted to be on the other side of this side pocket so that he could 4 and roll down for the 5. They did take their places after that. And this is the type of rack that you like to get when it's 3-3 or 4-4. Something that lets you get back to where you can just let your stroke out, make a few easy balls, and run out. Now, he doesn't even have to move this cue if he doesn't want to. He can stop and shoot the 6 down in the lower corner and roll over onto the 8. Oh, well, I guess I looked at them differently, and it looked like the 7 was right there, folks. Sorry. And Chris Loar takes a 4-3 lead. Interested to see if Chris adjusts for his break. He has been a little bit all over the place on the break here. He hasn't hit one square yet that I would say that he's got control of his cue ball. And as hard as he hits them, it doesn't look like it's really strength or speed that's making these balls. I think it's going to end up being a square hit. And I think he could take a mile per hour off his break or two and hit him square and probably make a ball. You know, I guess he doesn't believe so. And he's going to let Bobby Chamberlain back to the table here. Wide open table. Only shot is from the 5 to the 6, making sure he's above the side pocket here. Same side as the 1 and the 7 with the cue. Slightly after he pockets the 3 ball, so he can go down from the 5 to the 6 and get out. I think Bobby will be able to run these balls in less than a minute and a half. See him using that device, the compressed talcum powder that tournament director Joshua Dickinson was telling us about. See if he follows this one into the side and gets position, or if he slides. And you can see he did not want to draw that last shot, and or made a mistake on it. And now I think he's glad that he's not. Perfect. Well, at this point here, I think he's cleaned him up fairly well. It's a matter of not getting straight in on the 6, and he should be out. I think he's fine now. No, he might have got a little straighter than what I thought he was going to get there. But I do think he can draw this ball out of there. Judging from the way he's pacing around the table, and he's got his compressed talcum, he's got that rolling again. He might be a little bit straighter than what he wanted to be.
think he has enough angle where he can draw 2 rails and very nice shot.
Hit it as advertised. Just a hair angle. He'll just slide this an inch or two left, and then it's just pop, pop.
Our score is going to be 4-4. Very close match here.
Yeah.
It looked like for a minute Chris was going to start running away with it, but you never count Bobby out. He got a few good rolls and played some good safeties. And, whoa, nice 2-railer there. But we got a 4-4 match.
And that locks us up at 4 games apiece on the scoreboard. And see if Bobby can break these balls correctly. Now Chris has been breaking the balls a little bit better than Bobby, and I think that's the big difference right now in the break side. But Bobby's been in control. Chris gave control back after a pop and a cue off the table last time.
Bobby's made 2 balls on the break. Not really controlling the cue ball with the break. So he's making life difficult for himself, trying to get out of the rack. And there's no gimme here on the 1 ball. I think the 3 might even be keeping him from making it in the bottom left-hand corner.
I think the break is what's been, wreaking havoc on Chris's game. He's scratched a couple of times and given Bobby some opportunities to get to the table. This is a pretty tough shot. You make the 1, your cue's going into the 8-5. You try and play safe. There's not a lot of great safeties here.
I think he rolls the 1 down to the short rail, and just with some straight top, it naturally rolls towards the 3 and tries to hook it behind the 3.
For those of you just tuning in, you're watching Inside Pool Videos production, the Virginia State 9-Ball Championships. We're here at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. I'm J.R. Calvert. Joining me in the booth is Joshua Dickerson. And if you're missing any of this match and you want to catch up with it later, you can watch all the videos on demand that you're seeing here in this live stream at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Inside Pool Mag. And for the most part, we're simulcasting this through a few of the locations in our network, about 4 dozen of them or so. Some highlights in there would be the VA Pool website, that's va-pool.com, the Virginia State Pool and Billiard Association, Inside Pool TV, our YouTube channel, which I had just mentioned, Facebook, Ustream, which is ustream.tv/Inside Pool Mag, and of course about 3.5 dozen other sites that are billiard related. Josh, what do you think of that shot?
That was a tremendous shot. I didn't think he could even see the 1 ball. Looks like he had just enough to make that 1 in the corner pocket. That was a tremendous shot.
It's almost as good as that 2-9 that he made earlier when he had drawn and got position. He was out of position, and we thought he was getting position to make a safe, and it turned out that he was playing a 2-9 combo and going rail first with the 2.
You know, Bobby, on his player profile that I've seen on the net, one of his players he likes as a favorite player to emulate is Efren Reyes. I mean, who's not a fan of Efren Reyes?
Right.
But a shot like that kind of reminds me of Efren playing in the last straight pool event they had in New York, where he had a difficult breakout shot, and most folks wouldn't even think to shoot a breakout shot the way he did, but he makes a ball in the side pocket, spins the cue ball 2 rails, and breaks half the balls open on the rack. Very aggressive shot for a straight pool game, but that's Efren's style, coming up with creative ways to, make things happen, and that's what Bobby did right there with that 1 ball. He just made something happen, and made another thing happen when he banked the 2 ball right there. So,
And it goes a lot to say about the talent for both players, because when it really comes down to it, you get a player like Efren. He makes a shot like that. That's everyday shot to him,
absolutely.
and he's not worried about it in the least. And with Bobby Chamberlain, that shows you how good of a ball maker he is. Is that some of these things that we think are fantastic, or it's every day to him, routine, run of the mill.
Just another day in the office. Does he naturally roll out here 1 rail for the 7?
Yeah, I think he has an angle where he's just gonna come out 1 rail. He's just waiting for the player on the other table here. And it might have been David again. Now David has the shorts on. If he's a little straight, he draws this ball, but I think he's got an angle, and he'll hit it with a little high right, spinning out there.
I don't blame Dave for being in short season. This Virginia summer here has been brutal the last month and a half. We've been having an average of over 100-degree temperatures. And then with the humidity coming in and off the coast, makes it even worse. So now, JR, I know you live up in Pennsylvania. What's the weather been like back there for you guys?
Well, it's been in the high 90s, and you can't see more than a quarter mile because it's so humid. I think the whole United States has been in a heat wave.
It has that. So, but you've actually been traveling quite a bit recently, because you've are doing the streams for the Seminole Tour,
Sure.
which has been a big success, because the Seminole Tour really wanted to try and take their tour to the next level. So you've brought the stream in and doing pay-per-view with them, and have done a tremendous job with it. I mean, I'm sure the Seminole tribe is very pleased with the results they've been getting off that. They've got the talent at the event. It's just a way to showcase it, and you're definitely doing that for them. So,
Thanks.
Congrats to you.
Yeah,
Another
we're doing
game
what
for
we can.
Bobby.
And here comes Bobby. Coming up 5-4. Yeah, for those of the listeners and viewers at home, we're going to be at Snookers in Providence, Rhode Island for the Seminole Tour event next week. That'll kick off on Friday morning at 10 a.m. So you get 3 days of viewing with the guys, and we'll be hosting it right at the Seminole Pro Tour website. So you can go to SeminoleProTour.com and check out the pay-per-view there.
And I just wanted to give say hello and send a shout out to a friend of mine, Mr. Ozzie Reynolds. Ozzie, actually in the last few months, has started another pool tour that is going through North Carolina, Virginia, and the Mid-Atlantic area. And it's called the Action Pool Tour, and they actually had a stop here at Diamonds a few weeks ago and ended up having 49 players. And he called me today to wish me good luck on the event today, and said he might try and stop by. He had a family event that he was going to today and unfortunately couldn't play. He's actually played in years past. And so if you guys get a chance, look up Action Pool Tour and check out Ozzie's tour, see if he's going to be stopping anywhere near you. Actually, they're going to be at Diamonds next weekend in Midlothian, Virginia. So great tournament, good format, gives amateurs and pros the ability, the chance to try and play together in an even race, but it makes it more advantageous for the amateur player to try and come out and participate. So,
Right.
Bobby had a great break, but lost the cue ball at the last second there.
Yeah, that's the one weakness that I see both players exuding right now, is that they both have lost their cue ball too many times, and more than what they'd like. They'd like to never scratch, of course. This is a fairly easy rack for Chris. I'm sure that he's looking to get up 5-5 on this. And there he goes. Got the right angle on the 5. He just doesn't want to get too straight on this 7, but he'll come down and hit the rail. Most players don't realize that it's easier to judge if you hit the rail and figure out how far you're going to go off of it than it is to try and figure out how close you're going to get to it.
See what he's
And he's
likes to be close to his work.
yeah. He'll just nick this out of there and pull it off the rail an inch or two.
Good shot. And our score should be 5-5. Taking a minute, I think somebody walked past him at the other end of the table. Going to collect himself. Good sign of a champion.
Just
Has
get up
something
off the
that's-
ball, right?
Just going to stand up off the shot if you got something that's going to keep you from not concentrating 100% on the shot at hand. So, and the score is 5-5 because of it. And I'll tell you, like you said, I think it's going to come down to who can control the cue ball on the break at this point. If you can control the cue ball, then I think that person is going to end up winning this match.
One of the things that I'd do at this point is I would just hit the rack square just to see how these balls react. And neither player has chose that yet. And I think the first one that does will end up finding that a ball's going to be going in.
He took a little speed off of that break. He took a little speed off of that break and made a ball, and he can at least see the one ball. I think he got kicked by another ball towards this end of the table.
Well, actually, he missed the rack a little bit and slid down table. I think if he had hit him even a little bit more square, he would have been centralized with the cue ball.
Chris just pushed out.
And this is what I was talking about. He thinks that he's a better safe player, that he's going to win the safety battles when it comes to him. And he will push out to a safety on Bobby more than Bobby will do it in return. Now you can see 2 balls are on one side of the table, 6 are on the other. He has to figure out how to get one of these balls down table with the other one up table.
I'll tell you, if it were me, I would bank the one towards the cluster balls at the end of the table and try and get the cue ball behind the 7, because you put him in double trouble right there. He went the opposite way of putting the one down there.
And this is why Chris wants to force safety battles, because he thinks that Bobby will do this enough times that he'll keep getting to the table with some type of shot.
Bobby got real fortunate there, getting behind the 4 ball the way he did, because if that ball had stopped rolling about a half a ball ago, he leaves him a shot on the 1.
I'm not sure that he doesn't have a shot. I think he's already looking at the 2-5.
Wow, good shot.
This is orchestrated by Chris Loar. He wanted Bobby to sell out with a safety, and that's where we're at. Now, if Chris can make this deuce, he's gonna probably go for it. If not, if it's even a remotely tough shot, he's gonna stick Bobby behind a 3. It's how he feels here, folks.
That's... Ooh, wow.
And it looks
that's
like he
surprising.
was not decided, because he's certainly not where he wanted to be if he made the 2. And he certainly shot the 2 so close that it looked like he was trying to do both. Just a minute aware. That happens to guys. I miss balls from here every now and then, and I admit it. I would have missed that ball. Got us all knotted up at 5.
And you know that safe behind the 3 was a pretty easy safe to shoot. And to me, like a lot of folks, that's a mark of a champion. They might have a questionable shot on the 2. You can make it, but you're better off playing that safe to get ball in hand potentially to
Right.
get out of the rack. That's one of the stories about Efren where he's up 10-0 and breaks and makes a ball and has a shot that he could make on the 1 ball, but he has some problem balls, so he decides to play the guy safe even though he's up 10-0 just to get that ball in hand to give himself an opportunity to take care of those problem balls and run the rack out.
Right. A lot of action in the pool room in behind you. See that going on back here? The Dorseys, Cindy and Thomas, they have a great pool room here. They really do.
They have done a great job with this pool room. They've been open for 3 years. And one thing I will give them credit for is
Just one thing?
one thing more than just about anything else
One more thing.
is they keep this pool room relevant. A lot of pool rooms get into the complacency of we're a pool room, we have pool tables, that's what you come and do. But they have done several different things to either try and add to the decor, add some other things at this venue to make their regulars be surprised when they come in, and then folks that haven't been in a while surprised when they come in. They have done some renovating as far as seating because it's a room with 14 tables in it, and it's not a lot of room for spectators, but they have added a few booths in that have really helped out the place. They hold Texas Hold'em events here, and then as just most recently, they got a license to have off-track betting here, which has really drawn in some folks to come do that because there's
Right.
only 2 places within the city of Richmond in this radius of town where you can go and do off-track betting.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that's really smart.
So they don't fall into the trap of many other places that just stick to pool and that's it. In this economy, the way things are going, you got to do different things to keep yourselves relevant. Folks coming in the door and spending money. So,
If people want to buy strawberries, you sell strawberries. That's how you stay in business.
Bobby takes the lead 6-5. Is this his first time leading the match?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's, trying to think. Six. Yeah, it is. That's exactly right. And this is going to be Bobby Chamberlain's first trip to the table with a lead under his belt. Let's see if he watched Chris break the balls and hit him square and sit down. Because I'd be willing to say that if I was at the table and my opponent broke the balls half speed and made a ball, I'd be breaking half speed.
I would too.
Let's see if he's ready for the challenge here. He looks like he's gonna break him wide open. I'm sorry, he's ready to hit these balls.
And he did that.
Did that?
If he took anything off of it, it wasn't much.
No. But he did take his cue ball back down table. He went off the side and drew it back to the side rail and down. Now again, this is the other test. You've got 6 balls on one side, 1 on the other. You've got an obvious safety situation. How do you accomplish this? I actually see a fairly decent safe where you shoot to 1 straight across into the side rail and take the cue ball down to the bottom rail and take it in between the 4 and the deuce. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Which is what he tried.
Remember what we were saying. Chris wants safety battles in this match. That's all he wants. because he feels that he's going to win these safety battles 8 times out of 10. There's just something about the way he's approaching this game. Yeah. I was anxious to see whether he was going to try and play it safe or go for the shot. That was a 50-50 in my book. And even knowing that you want to get into a safety battle with your player, because if you make that shot and draw back a diamond or two, you should be out.
Pretty aggressive shot by Chris. I think he was going all out for the gusto to try and get back to the other end of the table where the 2-ball was. But you had to be careful, as always, with these diamond tables. Tight pockets, and I mean, he looked pretty close to straight as you could possibly get. So you got to have a pretty pure, straight stroke to accomplish all that you need to accomplish in that shot. Not only make the ball, but drawing the ball at least 4 feet to get shape on the 2-ball. Now, Bobby's made a good shot on the 1 past the 4 and has a shot on the 2 here. Does he run the risk of running into the 9 here? Or do you think he can skirt past the face of it? Because if he can do that, he can come on the far side of the 5, in between the 5 and the rail, and hopefully have a shot on the 3-ball. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, this one, to get it around the 9, a lot of times you have to hit it too hard to end up against the side rail.
And he ran into the 9 and missed the 2.
Right. Now this is not easy. I see myself hitting this shot with follow softly, taking the cue ball out a little past the spot and letting the 2-ball in the corner pocket area.
Wow.
Okay. And it's
frustration
it
on him there too.
It floats. And I didn't see any safety that I like. You just had to bear down and make that ball.
Yeah, depending on whether this 2-ball froze or not, might have to change the way he's going to approach this. Looks like he's drawing 1 rail back towards the 3.
Yeah, he's trying to get back to the center, and I think he's
the 8.
found the 8-ball.
Wow.
A lot of straight pull players, what they do is they want to come back to that center of the table, and they know that shot so well. And they come back to the center and back to the center, and it looked like it was going to be fine until the 8 got in the way. This is tough. I would not say that there's any great shot here as far as a kick. The only thing he can do is try and hit the side of it coming down with a little bit of pace. That's it right there. That's the best he can do.
Got a good friend of mine watching the stream just sent me a message. Just want to say hello to Rayman, the pool man out there watching the stream. Thank you, sir. Glad you're watching the event. Wish you could be here with us today. And actually, I think Ray was in your magazine for being one of the APA
Players of the month.
Yeah, Raymond Walters.
Yep.
So.
Sure was. We like the APA.
Looks like Bobby's taking a break.
People. Bobby's going to exercise his right to take a break. To not exercise. Take a look at side table here with David Hunt. Believe Bobby is back.
Chris is back at the table.
Now Chris has a shot on the 3 that I think that It's extremely makeable, of course, and all he has to do is cinch it. But the real funny thing here is he did not want to get further out on this 5 than what he did. I think he's about perfect. I'm just trying to get an idea whether he is or not. Yeah, he is.
Good.
He wanted to follow this ball and come right at the 6. A lot of guys, what they'll want to do is slide over, and they find themselves awkward on the 6.
Well, I think what I've noticed in the transition of play from Brunswick to diamonds is it's really the diamond tables really take the power game away. It really comes down to the shot making ability. And I remember talking with Jay Helford about it a year or two ago at the U.S. Open, and we were talking about how tight the diamonds were. And he made a very keen observation. Jay spends a lot of time over in the Philippines and knows all the Filipino players. He said, if you watch this younger generation coming out of the Philippines, they don't have that really elaborate bicycle stroke like Efren and Bustamante and Andam, a lot of them have. It's a very compact, very conservative stroke. And I think, really has a lot to do with the new tables that they're playing on. Very tight pockets, cut differently than the gold crowns are, and makes you really have to change your game and really have to trust that you have a good straight stroke.
And Chris hit that ball, or hit that break, I'm saying half speed.
If that. Wow.
And Bobby likes this. He says, keep hitting them half speed and make 3 or 4 balls and then give me ball in hand. I like this.
I'd almost come out of retirement to play if I had this type of action here.
Well, I think he's supposed to go to the rail here. I would not draw this ball straight back. I'd slide to the rail, get above the deuce, and go to the bottom rail off the deuce. See, I don't like this. It's too much draw.
And you think, being a straight pool player, he would naturally do something like that. It would just be an instinct for him, not trying to draw balls because they're so used to using the rails in straight pool.
Right. He's on the right side of the 5. Little follow, little draw, take it back about 1 diamond on the other side of the side pocket, and he should be fine. Doesn't want to absolutely be straight, but he wants to be about 1 inch or 2 off the rail. He should be fine.
Just use a straight top ball, roll down towards the 7 after you make the 6. That's just about perfect.
Yeah, he can come off the rail real nice. And for me, for my personal taste, I come out a little past side table now, and I get and shoot the 6 into the same pocket or the 7 in the same pocket as I'm going to shoot the 6.
And you're safer that way because you're not on the short side of the 7 ball at that point.
Yeah.
With as much angle as he has on the 6 ball, he kind of runs the risk of either getting on the 50-yard line on the 7 ball or rolling right on top of the 7 ball.
Right. Well, I always liked running flat balls. I either run tight to the corner or flat. It's some variation of those two that gives you your position from your 7 to the 9.
Hit that ball good.
You hit that ball really nice, and he's going to zigzag this one. Lest you get here.
Are we going to see how good his bank pool game is here?
No, he'll slice this in. He'll reach out around the table and slice this in. Now he better run this ball flat, or he can end up finding a hole.
Good shot.
Good shot.
Bobby takes the lead back at 7-6.
Our producer Alvin Nelson is all over it. A lot of talk about the Kamui chalk. Have you got to try it yet?
Not had a chance to try it yet. I'm really interested in doing so. I have switched over to play with the Blue Diamond chalk
Hmm.
and have been impressed with that. A good friend of mine, Randy Gottlicker, actually turned me on to it.
Hmm.
And so, but I've heard nothing but good things about the Kamui chalk. JR, I think you were telling me about when you were at the expo, you were trying to get up with your friend at Kamui all through the event and said hello to him pretty much at the start and never got back to him until the end
uh,
of the show.
every time I went by his booth, they were 3 and 4 deep waiting in line. There had to be easily 10 people in his booth the entire show. And I had tried the chalk while we were at the BCA Nationals, and I hadn't picked up a cue in years, and I was trying to miss cue with this chalk, and I just couldn't do it. And you chalk one time, and you're good for 6 or 7 games. And I told him, I says, I have no idea how long a cube of chalk would last. I said, but it's amazing how great that chalk is. You guys ever get a chance, you definitely have to try it out.
If you hit the lottery, you can buy yourself about 2 or 3 pieces, and it'll last you for the rest of your life.
Nah, I think it's price pointed at $25, and I'd say that it's every bit worth it. From what I see, when I was playing, I would have had a cube in my case, and I would have had a cube in a chalk holder on my hip the whole time. Because I had a stroke where I had to stay within a tip of center, because I could actually stroke the shot too hard, and I could miscue just a hair off of center. So miscues were something that I had to concern myself with, because I had really fast hands, and it would accelerate through the ball so quickly that I could miscue with anything more than a tip of English really easily.
It looks like this was Bobby's most controlled break of the match. He made 3 balls on the break. The one is up table, and the cue ball is down this end of the table, and I think he's trying to decide how to attack this shot. I think he's going to trying to hit this one ball as thin as he can with a little bit of right English to try and get the cue ball back down where it is. Not an easy task.
Well, the 4-6 blocked that hole. Even if you would, quote unquote, make a sellout pattern that would lead you there, that's where you'd be. Now, this is interesting. This, I can tell you that if Chris passes this shot, we know he thinks he's a better safe player than Bobby. If he shoots it, it leads me to believe that he sees something that I don't see, like shooting the one past the 6 with high inside English and going up into the 6.
He passed it back.
He's supposed to pass it back. He truly should make Bobby play this shot. And that's what Bobby's looking to do, but I don't see anything spectacular awaiting out there. Do you?
No, there was a lot of good value in Chris passing that back to him because he wants to see if Bobby will man up and cut this ball in and see if he has a chance. So any closer to the corner pocket, I think Chris would have accepted the shot. But where it's sitting on the rail, this does not have to go. And you have to turn the cue ball loose in order to have a chance of even making the one ball.
Right. Now, one of the options that he's looking at, of course, is spinning his rail first and seeing if he can get that one to stay along the bottom rail and the cue back up this way. All that's going to do is give Chris probably a shot at playing safe in the future and not have to take this disastrous shot. This isn't and by any means a good shot that we want to end up with. He came out of it about as good as he could do. About the only thing he could have done there that would have been better would have been to stick it behind the 8. But again, it's low percentage. You got what you wished for, Chris.
And Bobby got real fortunate with where the one ball landed. It's a tough cut backwards, an even tougher cut going forward.
2 inches either way, and this is a sellout. He found a place where it's actually there's some difficulty.
I think Chris cuts this back in the side. He wants to do it, but he's having trouble getting down over that and committing to that shot. He cuts balls very thinly, extremely well. And if you can do that with the value of being on the rail is you're putting top English on the ball, so you're going to hopefully get to the rail to get back table up around the table for the 3 ball. So let's just see. He doesn't want to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I like sending this ball down towards the corner with a thinner hit. I'll cut it thin just to get the cue ball over on towards the 3. This is not a bad shot.
That's a good shot. I think the 3 probably got in position so he can't see an edge of it. He'll probably have to kick one rail at it to hit the 1 ball.
Now, if he can dig and spin behind his 3, there is a shot here where he can take the cue ball back into the corner pocket where he's at and send a 1 up table. Well, he hit it pretty full.
Look at this.
He's going to end up pretty golden on this one.
If the one got on this side of the 8 ball, I think he's got him in a position where he can't make it. But if it's not touching the 8 there, he might have a chance of spinning 1 rail and making this ball.
I think it's dead off the 4-8, whichever ball that is. Maybe our producer Alvin Nelson will give us a good idea what that is. Was that the 4 ball?
Wow.
Sure was.
4 ball. Got fortunate there. This is where this game of normally compared to checkers becomes a chess game.
Now, me personally, I think I'm going to end up tying up a ball here. I don't think any good can come out of this. And I might look at tying up the 6 onto the 7 or something. Josh has been called away from the table or the mic, and he's out doing his tour director duties. Yeah, I truly believe banking the 6 across onto the 7 would have been something that I would have been looking at there, just to tie it up, because you can play the carom off the 4 and draw up towards the 3. But I would have created a problem there, because I really didn't like the kick that much.
You're going to match on the one ball side. Table number 6, John Jenkins, Eric Bouquet, raise your hand.
Tough call to make there.
It was the nail biter. We could have gone either way there. Bobby looked at me. I don't know if you guys could hear him. He said, at this point, this is where Grady tells me I should make a deal. Referring to Grady Matthews.
Well, anybody that's a Pirate fan might have witnessed the debacle that happened this week with a 19-inning game with the dreaded Atlanta Braves, the scourge of the National League, as their player hit the ball into the infield. Our catcher not only tagged the guy once, but tagged him twice, 8 feet from the plate. It was only 8 feet. And the ump called him safe. So
Oh, wow.
I won't get into that too much, but I know there might be some Atlanta Braves listening out there, fans. But yeah, the Braves and the Pirates have always been rivals.
If Atlanta wins the World Series, they'll have to send that ump a case of champagne. Meanwhile, back here, Bobby Chamberlain's going to take advantage of a error by Chris Loar and is on the hill at 8-6.
Yeah, Bobby didn't like the way those rolled together. For those of you just tuning in, you're watching the Virginia State 9-Ball Championship here at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. This is an Inside Pool production. I'm J.R. Calvert. Joining me in the booth is Joshua Dickerson, who is the tournament director. You're watching a match between Bobby Chamberlain and Chris Loar. This is a race to 9. Bobby Chamberlain is breaking the balls up and ahead 8-6. And now he's going to inspect his own rack. I don't blame him. And that'll give you an idea. These guys, they really do want to see if these balls roll off after they walk away, and it has happened. So even when you're racking your own, you got to kind of keep an eye on things and see how it looks. See if he hits his break square and keeps a little bit off of it. There he goes. He loves hitting that ball on the side and trying to get the one in the queue up table. Bobby looks like he's going to push out. Pretty good place to push out to. And an interesting way to leave the balls here. What do you think, Josh?
I think he would be crazy not to pass it back, being as close as he is jacked up over the 2-ball. If he's going to stick with his logic to what we've talked about of how to play this match and have a chance of winning, I would pass it back.
Now, has Chris been playing a lot? Do we know whether he's in stroke? Sometimes summer really throws guys off. Sometimes it doesn't.
When I talked to him earlier today, he said he hadn't been playing much. A lot of times running a pool room, you're too busy with making sure the kitchen's clean, that the tables are in good shape, and you really don't get a chance to practice like you would. And just a real interesting situation has come up outside on the brackets, the way they tend to fall sometimes. We're going to have a family grudge match here in the next round or two. Actually, the next round.
The Bruners or the Dorseys?
Chris and Sherry Bruner. Sherry is Christopher's mother. The way the brackets have gone out, we'll play each other on the one-loss side. But I forgot about the other family feud we might have going on here. We could have father and son playing each other. We have mother and son definitely playing each other in the next round. So could be a little family feuding going on here. See who gets to ride home with who tonight.
Yep. Yeah, I got a little word of advice to Chris. Miss a lot.
You might be of legal age, but she still knows where you sleep.
Pool's a tough game, and you never know when you're going to miss a ball, Chris. Hint, hint.
Exclamation point. Wow.
Wow. And Chris, I do believe that Chris's lack of time at the table right now is starting to show. And I think he's in this game because of his ability to play safe and make a few balls. But he's missed too many shots that I find are routine for him. And that's why I asked the question is he playing? Because he doesn't seem like he's the same Chris Loar.
And I don't think he's been playing as much recently as he has been. I know Chris played in the U.S. Open, and he actually played an event I actually held in Fredericksburg last November. So, but I don't get a chance to keep up with as many of the players as I do with a lot of things I have going on. So, not to mention promoting the state's greatest players in the Virginia State 9-ball championships. So, great shot by Bobby. Oh, he hung the ball. He jumped up, and I thought he was heading around the table, but he jumped up in dismay. And you can't give Chris an opportunity like this. I mean, I think now, after missing that one ball, which was a routine shot, and the way he missed it, I think he is back at the table with a little more purpose and a little more drive. And you need to take advantage of those opportunities and
see where they take you. He has a little pace to his game. Looks like he's going to play a simple safe here. I don't think he can make this ball. He did. He played a simple safe. Simple safe is generally where you have a stop shot that's going to let you declare where one of the balls is going to end up.
And hit it really good.
He sure did. Now, Bobby, he looks like he wants to spin off the bottom rail here for this shot and slap it in the side. The only problem is that the 8-ball's going to be in the way, I think, for him to go straight up table. Just missed it. Nice shot.
Left Chris a little tester here.
And Chris didn't waste any time. He's already stroking at this ball. So he's either giving up or he's trying to get a rhythm. Great shot.
Great shot.
With a great player like Chris, he knows what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to get his blood flowing. He's been a long match already. He needs to get some type of rhythm going, and he'll get his shot making back. And I think that's what's, while slowing the game down, that he's actually found out maybe that he's hurting himself as an offensive machine because he's not totally in stroke.
And Bobby, being a straight pool player, is used to the slower pace of straight pool, where the matches do tend to go a little longer. That might have been a little ploy on Bobby's part to have the match stretch out a little bit, and he's used to the endurance of straight pool, where it's not a sprint.
Exactly. Well, and it shows some of the gamesmanship that's going on here, and some of the psychology in behind what we're looking at. Actually, very interesting. It's a a pretty good game plan by both players, I think.
And our score is 8-7. Bobby Chamberlain with Chris Loar getting ready to break the balls in rack 16.
Now, if Chris can hit these balls square, kill Whitey, and then get a shot, we have a match. Because he does have the ability to get out, whether he's in stroke or not right now. The guy's playing great pool right now. In stroke or out of stroke. 8-7 is nothing with him break. I know.
He's made a ball.
He's made a ball. He's
I hope
7.
he's 12 feet tall.
Yeah. I predict a bridge is in his future. Now, this is not the hardest shot to get behind a 5. It's just a finesse shot. The only problem I don't like is it's hard to take a rail away from Bobby Chamberlain this way. But let's see what he does if he can get this cue ball to go onto the other side of the 5 and get the 6 in the game. The key to this is actually the 6, I believe. Wow, what a nice shot.
That's a very nice shot.
He hits that 8 or the deuce, and he sells out.
Trouble in River City.
Yeah, exactly. What a great shot.
Good swing at the ball. You know, it's amazing how many times you see that happen. You wouldn't think it'd be a thing that would come up very often where you'd kick at a ball like that and not touch a single ball on the table. Because if he just nicks that 2 ball and rolls it up on the 4, changes the game completely.
Changes the game.
Now Chris has a good chance of getting out, doesn't have any balls touching the rail, no real problem balls. And this match could be hill-hill.
Yeah, just that quick. Now, he's elected to shoot this in the corner, and I don't blame him because the 4 was a little bit funky with the position in the side. But he's got straight. And that was the part that I didn't like is, you know, that when you're not making balls, you want to be straight so that it seems like a easier shot. Now he's got to draw down to the bottom rail and come at this tree from the bottom side.
And he's hit it almost perfectly.
That's a great shot. That's a great shot. Well, that was the point that I was making is that he had to do this shot and end up with an angle or follow down and get the 3 onto the 4 on the side.
And he shoots the 3, I think, down the rail, gets positioned to shoot the 4 in the same pocket.
He could do that. He can follow, shoot the 4 in the 4 in the corner or the side where he's going to shoot the 3. Yeah, I thought he caught a little bit more of the rail. And look at this. He's going to almost scratch. If he scratches there, he can pretty much say it's over. Now he's got to rely on a Bobby Chamberlain unforced error at this moment because all the balls are wide open.
And is Bobby taking a break here?
He walked away with the stick, which leads me to believe that he's either looking for a tip tapper or something because he didn't have that pace like he was, not going to be back in a second. Nice stroke, gotten Poe. He looks like he's got a funky angle, that really weird angle that if he follows forward, he might never get past the 6 because his cue goes towards the 7. And at 5, 6, 7, so he'll just draw on the other side of the 6 ball here. And oh
Whoa.
my! He almost hit the 6 perfectly.
Former Virginia State 9-ball champion Larry Kressel just poked his head in the booth. How are you, sir? Still doing your winning ways?
Yeah, ready to play again.
He's ready to play again?
Oh, no, I don't. No, I don't play anywhere.
He said, put me in action or put me in commentary. I don't know. I'm just glad to be here today.
I like Larry. He's always got a smile. He's always having a good time.
Absolutely. He's got a good match coming up. He's playing Evan Chenevert from Virginia Beach. Plays out of Q Master Billiards, another good player. So we see what we have up next. We have another good match coming up, I think, right after this with Danny Mastermaker, and he is playing. Who do you play next? Who do you play next? Greg Taylor from out of Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh.
And Greg made his debut here last year and finished in the top 6 at this event for his first time out. So
Did real nice last year.
did very well, and he's undefeated so far as well in this event. So that should be a very good match.
Well, I'm gonna not go out on a limb here and say that it looks like Bobby Chamberlain is moving in for the kill here. He's gonna stretch a little bit, but this shouldn't be too much of an issue for him.
So you're pulling a Hopkins, are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till the 9's on its way down the clock.
And Bobby Chamberlain has won this match over Chris Loar by a score of 8-6.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. This match has been brought to you by Kamui Tips and Simona's Cloth, and it's been an Inside Pool production of the Virginia State 9-ball championships here in Midlothian, Virginia at Diamond Billiards. Stay tuned. We'll get another match coming your way.
to me earlier too. I mean, it's just, I mean, I've been up, I only had one hour, so I'm pretty tired.
4 9-ball that way before.
I mean, the lights on here, the fish are a little down
Put that two back right here. Yes, sir. He missed the 2 and 2 ball. Back camera out the table, just shot 4 ball over the hell.
So if I hit a little harder, it goes bigger past
I hate posting.